the closing session of the Central European Technology Forum, CETEF'22. Oh, thank you for coming for the session. I hope you have enjoyed the forum's debates and you haven't been suffering in any way from the partial solar eclipse that was observed in Wrocław 3 hours ago. Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, let us start from the summary of the 5 thematic conferences which were held today. I would like to invite to the stage the chairs of the conferences. Professor Lucyna Woźniak, Biomedical Technologies. Professor Barbara Juszczyk, Innovative Technologies in Non-Ferrous Metallurgy. Professor Piotr Szynkarczyk, Robotization. Professor Robert Iskander, MedTech, and Professor Mirosław Kutyłowski, Cybersecurity. Okay, so we have the microphone, and I will ask each chairwoman to summarize very shortly in a few minutes the conference you chart. So let us start from Professor Woźniak.
I seem to be a multifunctional robot today. Thank you for inviting me to this conference, and thank you for giving us opportunity to create the sessions dedicated to MedTech. We had perfect situation because we had fantastic panelists, and I want to thank all the panelists from this place here, because we had discussion about breakthroughs, about limitations, about bottlenecks, about problems connected with introduction some of new technologies into hospitals, into healthcare. And at the end of the session, we asked about key words that have been repeated for several times, and we think that are extremely important. But let me put it in the order I think are very important. And for the first place is the word human resources. People who will prepare, will invent innovations, people who will use them, and people for whom it will be used, patients and society. So this is the first. Then when we go to technologies and collecting data, it is the word the quality of data, because thinking about technologies that are the beginning of diagnostics, of functioning of robotics, supporting doctors, surgeons, healthcare in general, we have to remember that the quality of data will be a crucial factor of the final results, for the final results. Therefore, standardization is crucial. And the third thing is we have to meet, we have to discuss from different point of view, and all actors have to meet as often as possible, because sometimes we use different language, but we talk in different way. So meetings where we can share our experience, where we can share our goals, the purposes of creation new technologies are very important and somehow crucial for the final success.
Thank you, wonderful. Professor Barbara Juszczyk.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I would like, on the beginning, I would like to thank Congress organizers for opportunity to organize our special session dedicated to non-ferrous metal industry. The session which I had pleasure carried out was divided into three parts. The first was innovative technology in metallurgy of copper. The second was the new materials and processing of non-ferrous metals. And the third was innovative technology in metallurgy of zinc of lead. Knowledge level of all presentation was excellent. The presentation were focusing on changing technology in order to increasing energy efficiency as well as environmental aspect by reducing emission pollution. We also talking about the circular economy, which is a more important challenge in nowadays. The recovery critical element is also very important because we save raw materials in this ways. Yeah, the good example of this kind activity is recovery of molybdenum from catalysts from petrochemical industry. I want to emphasize that recycling of post-production, post-consumer waste is must to have nowadays. Session new materials and processing of non-ferrous metal was concerning of new multifunctional materials and innovation technologies such as additive manufacturing, as well as digitalization processes. Issue of energy and raw materials, raw material security, as well as circular economy have clearly resounded in every presentation. Okay. On the conclusion, my short speech will be one sentences: cooperation, collaborative, create innovation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Perfect. Okay, cybersecurity for digital transformation is crucial. Professor Gutheil, please summarize.
Okay, so first sentence that cybersecurity is like health. So you don't care about this until you're just seriously ill. And there are some nice promises about cybersecurity. As a specialist, the other also say that we are in a very bad shape at the moment. There are some other countries outside Europe that have even more problems. Sometimes we have some success stories. We have also some failure stories, and we should learn from it. One warning is about certification and regulations. Of course, Europe has very big impact on it, practical impact, but it does not suffice. So if you are compliant with NIS or some other regulations, if you have certificates, the best certificates, it's not enough. It's like a health check, that if you have good diagnosis after blood test, it does not mean that we are completely healthy. Okay, so what is the conclusion from technical people? First, important issue is keep it simple as possible. Keep it secure by design, and adjust to the citizens, because we don't have time to change the citizens. Citizens have their experience, knowledge, culture, and so on. They will not change rapidly, and we have no time to change. The time to change is maybe something 20 years. In this 20 years, many can happen to our societies. So it is a time to change in cybersecurity and IT systems, where we feed the data, for instance, to the health, and if they are attacked, they are unreliable, and we can have a big catastrophe. And cryptography, cybersecurity will not save you. We have to rethink, we have to be pragmatic in Europe. We have to make a lot of automatic activities, processes, because there's not enough people to manage this huge amount of data and problems. And everything should be self-secure and not just manually done. And if we do it, we could be on a safe side. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And the second representative of the Wrocław University of Science and Technology, Professor Robert Iskander.
I came prepared and I was sort of a chair in disguise, so I'll be actually talking from the observer's point of view rather than from the chairman's point of view. There were two-track sessions in this afternoon devoted to innovative approaches to broadly understood biomedical engineering research. And we had a range of excellent distinguished speakers. They were leaders of academia and industry, to whom the forum delegates, you, dear guests, could listen to. And in the majority of talks, and this is the message which will reverberate from previous talks here and summaries, for me, this is like the take-home message, is the issue of the need for stronger link between academia and industry, which was evidently intertwined, particularly in the areas that are difficult to be resolved without such interactions. And one of them in the first session was the drug discovery, and in another one was developing reliable animal models for biomedical research. The talks were, or they provided the audience with a number of platforms where such collaborations between academia and industry could really result in successful dissemination of scientific results. So summarizing this, I would say, yes, collaboration, and collaboration for the third time between industry and academia. And I sincerely hope that all of you enjoyed the meeting, and we'll be looking forward to next such meetings encompassing leaders from academia and industry in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And last but not least, Professor Piotr Szynkarczyk, by the way, the Vice President of the Polish Chamber of Commerce for High Technology.
Yeah.
Robotization.
Okay, thank you very much. I was the chairman of today's session, which was called Development Trends, Opportunities and Barriers of Robotization of the European Industry. And this was divided into two parts. The first part was the look on this subject from the scientific point of view. So we had 8 distinguished professors, and I think it's important to say that all of them were from different countries. We have representatives from Croatia, Poland, Ukraine, Slovenia, Hungary, Lithuania, Slovakia, and Estonia. So each one from different Eastern Central Europe country. So what were they discussing about? Concerning the barriers, the first barrier which should be treated as the obvious one is technical. But technical barriers are something which we are used to. We fight with techniques, we push the techniques to upper levels all the time. So maybe it should be not a barrier, maybe rather the challenge. And we deal with it day by day. Then financial barrier, which of course can be overcome by financing the scientific research, for example, by European Union funds. So maybe this is also what our forum is about, to make our tries to get the funds from the European Union for our projects more efficient. But also there were some additional unexpected barriers mentioned, like psychological and ethical, because sometimes robotic technologies deal with our human point of view, and in some applications it become a barrier. So it means that we should also cooperate not between robotics, but also with the human side of the research. Concerning trends, they are rather obvious. So this is co-robotics, which was the word co-robot was said many times today. Artificial intelligence, machine vision, autonomy. Also, there were some unexpected conclusion that sometimes very simple robot or maybe simple machine is more efficient than very advanced system. So we have to optimize our work, not only think that the more advanced solution, the better solution. No, we have to optimize according to needs of the industry. And of course, Industry 4.0 and even Industry 5.0 was mentioned today. So the conclusion of the scientific part is that we had 8 professors from 8 countries, and it turns out that we are thinking all the same way. We have the same barriers, we observe the same trends. So this kind of a forum like this one is maybe which we need to understand better each other between our countries and enhance our will to cooperate between our countries, which are, it looks like, in the very same situation. In the industry part, we have a description of what KUKA and FANUC is doing. Of course, we have seen what they offer, but also we learned that there is a lot of additional activities like education projects, cooperation with scientific institutes. They take part in the scientific projects, and they need to have another solutions because they have to move forward to stay in competitive position. So again, it's about collaboration. So what they want, they expect us to cooperate with them to provide them another more advanced technologies. So again and again, everything was about cooperation and talking. Probably the CETEF forum was the very good idea because it was the forum where we could exchange the ideas and find out that cooperation is a fundamental thing what we need. Thank you.
Great. Let us thank our chairs for their excellent work today. Thank you very much. I think we learned a lot from the thematic conferences. For example, that the global stock of operational robots is now about 3.5 million. Yeah, in Poland just 20,000. That's why, as the chamber, we decided to establish next year the international cluster on automatization and robotization, and Professor Szynkarczyk will be the leader of this project. Thank you very much. Okay, now I would like to invite to the stage. I would like to invite to the stage Dr. Lars Gutheil, the General Director of the Polish-German Chamber of Industry and Commerce, AHK Poland, which is the forum partner, and Professor Jerzy Lis, Director of the AHK University of Science and Technology in Krakow. The next point in the agenda is the presentation about the perspectives for cooperation between Polish and German companies in the field of high technologies and digital transformation. So, dear Director, the floor is yours.
Dziękuję bardzo. Thank you very much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, while I'm waiting for this little click thing, let me say thank you. It's a big honor, of course, to be here, able to speak to you. If I don't click, then it's also fine. Somebody might, okay, great. And at the same time, it's of course a big challenge because, I mean, it has been a very intense day, and I can imagine you are sitting here thinking, hopefully he does not speak too long, yeah? Because we have been filled with so much information. And that we actually had an intense day is also visible here, because there's the door. Everybody came in and fell on these seats on that side, and the further we go to this side, it gets thinner and thinner. So that is a good sign of physical and mental satisfaction, I would say, about everything we heard today. I think it was a great day. Trust me, I will try to not speak too long. 10 minutes, and I will give you a boost into Polish-German business opportunities and give you a little perspective on what is happening in the future. The Polish-German Chamber of Industry and Commerce, the AHK, has been working in Poland for 27 years now to bring partners from both countries together. And as of today, we coordinate a network of over 1,000 companies in both countries. And here on the slide, you see a couple of the investments. And I think, you know, some of these names have or been participating or been mentioned a lot in these last 2 days. Our main focus is to foster trade between Poland and Germany in general. So that is our task, but AHK is of course also a platform for its members and associates when it comes to the development of new technologies and ways of business. As one example, AHK Poland was the first bilateral chamber to publish a practical instruction on Industry 4.0. Well, okay, I have heard today that soon we must do Industry 5.0. You might also say, why is this on paper and not digital? Of course, it exists also online. So if you're interested, you can actually download it on our website. It's a very interesting project, which was coordinated by Artur Polak, one of our speakers today. We also have expert commissions through which we offer direct exchange between decision makers in politics and companies. For example, in fields like digitization, innovation, industry, renewable energies, and health. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in troubled times. With an inflation level of 17% and energy prices skyrocketing, many companies have their backs at the wall. Supply chains are under heavy pressure, while European producers are looking for ways to diversify. And our key industries are in a process of change. And all this does affect business in Poland, and it affects business with the most important foreign partner, Germany. Our countries have shown a tremendous success together, and maybe we can look at the next slide. In 2021, trade between Germany and Poland grew by almost 20% and crossed the mark of 146 billion euros. That's almost 700 billion zloty. However, it is important to emphasize that the focus of this success is still based on traditional industries, mainly automotive and machinery engineering. Motorized vehicles, parts for them make up more than 10% of sales between our countries. And when it comes to machinery, the share is even higher than 25%. And both sectors are excellent examples for the challenges we are facing. They both suffer massively from disrupted supply chains, and they are under pressure of technological change. So the question today is, what are the perspectives of high technology cooperation between Poland and Germany? And do some of the new technologies and innovations have a potential to offset any falling share of other more traditional industrial sectors? Well, I would like to dig very briefly into this, which means I will focus on just a few main areas. And these are robotics and automation, medtech, and electromobility. And let me start with the last one, and please the next slide. If there's one megatrend in automotive for the next years, then this will be the turnaround from combustion engines to the battery cell. This process is already in full swing. The area is the one that is growing the most in German-Polish trade, in exports at least, is lithium batteries for vehicles. And not in the last place, as Poland is a forerunner in this field. There are 60 production locations for batteries in Poland, and some of them, like the Mercedes factory in Jawor or the LG factories in Wrocław, are among the most outstanding examples in Europe. German OEMs are the main purchasers of batteries from Poland. Sustainability and recycling, circular economy, These are important issues in the manufacture of batteries. Polish companies are very active here, mostly in the framework of European initiatives. One example is the company Elemental Strategic Metals, which develops a facility in Poland focusing on the recycling of lithium-ion batteries and other waste containing metals, topic today also. The recycling process will include complex mechanical and metallurgical treatment, leading to the production of high-value raw materials for the European industry. And that means a new field of business opening up between our countries. Another big field is the charging infrastructure, which is now being expanded, although the level of expansion is lagging behind the needs. Many cities and municipalities already rely on electric buses, for instance, and are expanding the corresponding charging infrastructure. There are grants for this from the Polish Environmental Fund. Thanks to companies like Solaris, Volvo, and MAN, Poland is today Europe's largest exporter of e-buses. There's a company, Eco-Energetica, based in Zielona Góra, which is a European and global provider of e-car charging infrastructure and successfully operating on the German market since 2019, when it started supplying charging stations, amongst others, to Berlin, Munich, and Hamburg. And most recently, this Polish company, which started as a startup and has 600 employees today, opened a branch in France in connection with a 40 million euro order from the Parisian public transport provider. So we see that this is a vastly growing sector in Poland. Another interesting trend is the establishment of more and more research and development centers in the automotive sector. Traditionally, German and other international OEMs, as well as tier one suppliers, were purely focusing on production in Poland, but now more and more companies have started to open R&D centers. Good examples of this are recent activities of Robert Bosch, ZF, Borg-Warner, Delphi, or Faurecia. There are also subsidiaries of engineering companies such as EDAC, or domestic companies such as Bosmal or EC Engineering, and often these companies take over highly skilled tasks in early engineering of new developments in car models. Therefore, we see a clear shift of Poland rising up the value chain and also gaining more importance for R&D than in the past. Yet cooperation between companies, especially between SMEs and universities, we have heard it, as well as research centers, still needs to be intensified in Poland. And there's also a need for further development of training in vocational schools, and even better, of course, for more dual training in the companies themselves. Please, the next slide. Same is true when we speak of robotization and automation. This is a field with vast knowledge in Poland, and we could see that yesterday and today very clearly. Still, just heard the number of robots in Poland. In comparison with other countries, Poland still performs relatively poorly when it comes to the level of automation. The Czech Republic and Slovakia, for example, have far higher degrees of robotization per 10,000 industrial workers. Reason is that both countries have a larger footprint in the highly automated automotive industry. Poland's economy is a lot more differentiated in terms of sectors. The domestic and less automated middle class plays a much larger role. At the same time, the pressure on the labor market was lower. In many parts of central and eastern Poland, labor availability is still relatively good. Nevertheless, we are facing a growing competition on the labor market as well. Rising labor costs and increasing professionalism are definitely visible in the market. Therefore, in recent years, we are witnessing an increasing degree of automation in Poland. In the recent published World Robotics Report, Poland is now for the first time in the list of the 15 largest markets for industrial robots. And impressively, the number of newly installed industrial robots increased by 56% compared to the previous year. I think that is an outstanding development. The trend has also not been unnoticed by the German industry, which in many cases is one of the drivers via its subsidiaries. AHK sees a massive potential for German companies to provide technology, as well as for Polish companies to partner up with the German providers. We also strongly hope for a more structural cooperation between the German platform 4.0 and its Polish counterpart, the Platform for Future Industries. Industrial robots are a prime example of such solutions, but only superficially reflect the problem. First and foremost, automation is about increasing productivity. And this can be done, for example, by powerful machines, by conveyor technology or software solutions. Equally important is the wave of companies reshoring their supply chains back to Europe. At AHK, we have a couple of clients who decided to keep their activities in Asia going, but at the same time build so-called mirrors of their production sites in Europe as a safety belt for the future, as well as a matter for shorter supply chains. Usually these companies realize very early that Poland offers a much higher profile than Asian locations, making it likely to implement new technologically more profound activities. It is equally positive that we already see the software services market growing between both countries. Traditionally, the Polish-German services sector has been associated with construction or transportation services. Even if the latter have remained very important, modern services such as IT, BPO, SSC, and R&D software services are taking a more and more important place. Oh, great, thanks. So Poland has an opportunity to use German capital and know-how to further strengthen its role as a new IT hub in Europe, and thus to maybe even place itself ahead of Germany in the future, because both countries start at the same point when it comes to many forms of digital development and new technologies. And another boost should definitely come once Poland auctions the frequency spectrum intended for 5G. As we remember, an auction for 4 frequencies in the 3.6 gigahertz band was announced in March 2020 already, but was suspended shortly thereafter. It will only start again once there is the Cybersecurity Act, and work on the law is unfortunately still ongoing, but we hope that it goes quick. Let's come to the last sector I want to focus on, MedTech. And there we have to maybe look very briefly back. Germany as a country was involved in this area of medical devices practically since day one of this industry. Inventors like Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen, Bernhard Dräger, Paul Hartmann, Carl Zeiss were pioneers and revolutionized healthcare. Today, the German medtech sector is dominated by medium-sized companies. 93% of the 12,000 operating companies employ fewer than 250 people. Medical sector is also highly innovative and has very short production cycles or product cycles. German medical devices manufacturers generate about 1/3 of their turnover with products not older than 3 years. On average, medtech companies in Germany invest about 9% of their turnover in research and development. Compared to this well-established medical sector, the Polish sector for cutting-edge companies is still rather small. But the lack of a traditional sector has, on the other hand, had a very positive effect on the creation of young, innovative companies. According to market research, there are now about 400 young companies in that area of medtech in Poland. And that's amazing, because as of 2019, the estimate was only about 150. There has been a rapid increase in interest in AI, ML-based medical solution. As many as 47% of Polish startups indicated that they are developing their solutions in the artificial intelligence and machine learning sector. This demonstrates a noticeable growth of interest in AI and health, and is the key feature of the Polish medtech, which by comparison differs from the German counterpart, which is traditionally strongly hardware-based. It does not surprise, therefore, that AHK has, just some days ago, awarded a Polish medtech company with the German-Polish Business Award. IZTECH, a company that develops innovative products to improve the lives of people with neurological disorders. These patients are unable to communicate, they can't even move. So they cannot correspond with their environment. And IZTECH has developed a so-called CI system, which enables effective communication with the help of a special technology. The company is now actively establishing its presence on the German market too. Ladies and gentlemen, the facts mentioned make me feel very positive for the future of Polish-German cooperation. Even though traditional activities still dominate the market, companies and startups in both countries have recognized the value of new technologies and of innovation. And this is reflected in the investments made by both sides. It also reflects in trade and noticeably in the creation of new, highly qualified jobs. I think it is a task for Europe, but also for Germany and Poland in particular, to play a leading role in key issues such as digitization, 5G, new mobility, autonomous driving, services for industry, and smart healthcare, to name a few. And all that will only work if we in Europe and with Europe pull together. Today, Poland and Germany are close economic partners in the heart of our continent. Therefore, we need cooperation more than anybody else. And I'm convinced that Polish companies and research institutions have done their homework. Whether the projects can now be completed with the necessary speed also depends on the disbursement of European funds. We hope that the solution for this can be found soon. Our goal must be not to allow deindustrialization in Europe. On the contrary, we must do everything we can to continue being at the forefront of value creation and giving people good prospects. And I'm sure that Germany and Poland have taken important first steps, and I hope that we will continue along this path together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lars. Thank you for this overview. It is a kind of introduction because we have just established some plan of cooperation between our chambers in order to develop German-Polish cooperation in high tech. Thank you very much. And very exciting moment. It's time to announce the next Central European Technology Forum, CETEF'22. Professor Lis, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President, Dr. Zygmunt Krasiński. The last presentation is going to the future. So we are talking about the Polish-German cooperation. In the final session, in the conclusion, we have a lot about the future, but necessary to continue the talks, the discussion, the presentation, the cooperation. So let me say, invitation to the future, to Krakow, to the 2024, for the next forum. It's my pleasure, satisfaction to welcome to you to IZTECH in Krakow. So I think that IZTECH is familiar for practically everybody, but according to the tradition, few fast slides about our school. The next meeting we propose in Krakow. I think the place, the atmosphere is comparable to the Wrocław, and it will be also interesting for every us to meet Krakow with its environment, cultural, traditional, historical, with the university completed in Krakow, with the research community and students, and with the IZTECH. You know, 3 years ago, we started the second 100 period of years of our activity. We are a specific school, the specific university, erected as a mining academy, completing in the research and education, furthermore, the cooperation with industry, and next we are changed the name to the Academy of Mining and Metallurgy. Now in English, understanding of our character, we use the name, the title, IZTECH University of Science and Technology. So we are completing everything what is related with the applied science and applied education. We are erected as a German, you know, mining school like the Freiberg cluster, and I see Mr. President is very familiar to this group of university. However, in our motto, in our idea of activity, we are close to the industry. created by labor, serve labor, and knowledge. Labora creata, labora in scientific service is our motto. I think it's very actual, especially in this meeting, this forum, when we saw from the present event. We are keeping the mining and metallurgical tradition. Maybe some of them we show you during this meeting. We'll be very close to the Metallurgical Day, which is celebrated by the faculty, closing to the metallurgical, industry, like the metallurgy, foundry. We are present, the very strong group of foundry research and industry. Non-ferrous metal, ferrous metal, it will be also very close to our activity. AGH is working in the labor market. So because of this, we are changing, we are very flexible. We are changing our research and education profile according to requirements of the society. So because of this, in the present profile of our activity, we have very high advanced area of research. I see that it's very close to the profile of the present forum. Practically every of the subject and area we see here. The most popular in our school is IT, with all the specialization, like the cybersecurity, like the Industry 4.0, like the artificial intelligence, and so on. Environment and climate problems, resources management, we are still keeping the specialization in mining and technology, closing to this mining, industry. Natural science, new materials technology, energy, resources, mechanical engineering, and everything what is related in the industry, in the social, economic, and human science. Digitalization, energy transformation, climate change is topics of our offering in the learning and research. I think we have not bad equipment, a lot of new spatial labs. We have one of the biggest in the Central Europe supercomputer, the biggest, the high resolution Microsoft, and many more labs may be possible to show you during this forum. Spatial topics we are developing in the space technology. So I propose to the next forum to back to the space, specialization, and maybe in 2 years we have in Europe, in Poland, more advanced level of the space technology and space industry as a partner to the research. So we have a number of space European Alliance, Universities Alliance, with the German from the Düsseldorf University. It is a member of our group, Toulouse, Luxembourg, Loire, now the Roma is one of the future of the developing of the university alliance in the Europe. You can be familiar with our campus, one of the biggest campus in Poland, in one place, 50 hectares of area covered by the university and students, buildings, many of new buildings, about 20 big center will be developing during the last 15 years, especially using the Europe funds. We are a member also of the parks, houses, new cultural and sports centers. We are finishing this 5 buildings. We will be ready in 2 years. And we have the students will be help us to arrange all the meetings. So welcome to AGH, welcome to Cracovia. And I hope that one of the important conclusions from this forum is to continue the meeting. So because this we are discussed with the Mr. President, with the Polish Chamber of Commerce of High Technology. And I hope that everybody present here and everybody participate in this Wrocław meeting will meet together in Krakow. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this announcement. Let us thank Rector Jerzy Lis. Great research and great facilities. Thank you very much, dear participants. On behalf of the Polish Chamber of Commerce for High Technology and all organizers, it is my great pleasure to thank all distinguished guests, including chairpersons, speakers, panelists, and experts who actively participated in our debates. I thank the European Parliament for the patronage. Let me thank our partners for very good cooperation on the process of preparation of the CETEF, but also during our debates. I would like to thank Professor Richard Pregier, who is the chair of the Forum's program committee, for his enormous effort put into preparing the Forum program. And I would like in particular to thank to our host, Rector Arkadiusz Wójs, and his team. Could you please stand up? Already this, oh yes, could you please stand up? Thank you very much. And of course, I would like to thank the team from our chamber. Could you please stand up? Nobody's here, yes. Thank you, all of you, for joining us here in Wrocław, as well as for joining us online. We hope that networking and exchange of ideas on digital transformation were fruitful, and will result in concrete partnerships, concrete conclusions and recommendations, which we are going to gather and publish soon. I hereby announce the end of CETEF'22. Thank you very much. Goodbye and see you in Krakow in 2 years.